The AP Government and Politics course is a first-year college course that colleges will credit a student for achieving the required grade. It builds upon knowledge of previous courses in American history and examines how government and politics have evolved since the inception of the United States. It is, to say the least, a very challenging course, one that demands much study by the student. The Upward Bound program provides the student with a solid foundation for their work in the AP History School classroom. The PowerPoint provides reference points for study. However, much outside work is needed by the student to attain a 5 or even a 4 grade. Newspapers, current affairs, websites, television are all a source of vast knowledge. The internet especially provides a trove of information. If you need to find out something, just Google it, as the saying goes. The course is divided into 5 units. The first unit, The Foundation of American Democracy, is an examination of the growth of democratic government in the United States through colonial milestones, the Articles of Confederation, and finally the Constitutional Convention, which produced the world's oldest living constitution, the Constitution of the United States. The second unit examines how the 3 branches of government work together and how they check each other's power. Since the 2016 election, there has been a much greater interest in politics, so it is important to understand how the federal government operates. Unit 3 focuses on civil liberties and rights, as protected in the Bill of Rights and legislation passed by Congress. Today, many people march protesting that their rights have been infringed upon. It is important, therefore, to know exactly what these rights are, where they are found, and how they are protected by American law. Unit 4 examines political ideologies and beliefs. The two-party system has dominated in America since its beginning, but lately the political landscape is changing. This unit will focus on the politics of the left and the right and how their principles align with those of the Constitution. Finally, Unit 5 explores how the political system works at the grassroots level. As I mentioned, the 2016 election has prompted a renewed interest in politics, and this unit looks at political participation and how you, as a concerned citizen, can become involved. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez got elected in 2018 because she had become disenchanted with the old system and decided to run for Congress. Her success illustrates the importance of knowing government. This AP course will provide students with that knowledge. The AP Government and Politics course description booklet is available on the College Board website. On page 30 is a list of required reading. Students must be familiar with these following texts: the Declaration of Independence, Articles of Confederation, and the Constitution are the basic government documents listed. Of these 3, the Constitution is the most important. It is very short as constitutions go, but from it comes all the law of the United States. You have to read the Constitution. I repeat, you have to read the Constitution. For easier understanding, there are many websites that break it down into modern day parlance. The numerically named Federalist Papers argue why the Constitution should have been adopted. Lastly, Martin Luther King's letter from Birmingham jail is important in the context of the 1960s civil rights movement. The AP Government and Politics course is equivalent to a one-semester introductory college course in US government. The course description puts forward 5 principles that are pointers to success. The first I touched upon already, command of the Constitution. You must read and know the Constitution. It is the supreme law of the land. You cannot and will not be successful if you don't know your way around the Constitution. Point 2 can be applied to the Federalist essays mentioned previously. What were the arguments used in these essays, and do they hold up today? Students must analyze and synthesize the documents. Point 3 is simple. You have to learn your facts. There is no other way to get a 5 on this course without knowing the rules of government, particularly the Constitution. Reading and rereading material will make the knowledge stick. Much of the basic knowledge you have covered already, checks and balances, federalism, the amendments, to name a few. This course will assume that the student is familiar with and understands these principles of government. So review your 11th grade material. Points 4 and 5 go hand in hand. Be able to argue your points. Today, much discussion degenerates into shouting matches. For those thinking of entering politics, the ability to argue points is very important. Recently, Jamal Bowman destroyed Elliot Engel in the Democratic primary 16th Congressional District because he had a better argument. Alexandra Ocasio-Cortez won her primary too, arguing for change. By knowing your facts and understanding the laws of society, the student can lead a productive and responsible life while questioning the inequities of society. Look around at New York City today. Look at the poverty, the need, the homelessness. Where is the money going? These are important questions that need to be asked, and this is why this course is very important. Today's password is Clean Up New York. I repeat, today's password is Clean Up New York. As I mentioned before, the AP has adopted a more holistic approach. It is a more difficult exam. This approach requires a much greater in-depth knowledge of government and politics. Returning to a previous point, we remember the principle that students are not spectators but analysts, and that to understand the course and hopefully achieve a 5 rating, students must not only know the basic facts, but be able to analyze and synthesize the actions of government today. Here we see 2 examples of the old style of question, simple fact-based. Both questions deal with the powers that are specifically given to the federal government in the Constitution. These are called, as we see in question A, enumerated, or in question B, delegated powers. They are also called express powers. They are straightforward questions, and the student is required to know enumerated, reserved, concurrent, and implied powers. I will give you 1 minute to answer the questions. For A, the correct answer is 4. Regulating commerce within a state or intrastate is a state or reserved power. For question B, the correct answer is 3. Only the federal government has the power to declare war. More illustrative of today's AP question is this extract from the Federalist 84. Note that this is not on the foundational reading list, so it points out the fact that you have to do outside reading. I will give you 2 minutes to read and answer the question. Hamilton is arguing against a Bill of Rights because he feels it enables the government to assume they have more power than is actually given them. The power given to the government is specifically listed and is called enumerated, expressed, or delegated powers. The answer, therefore, is 1. The judicial branch of government has grown more important in the last few decades as the Supreme Court engages more and more in deciding the laws of this country under the guise of judicial review or the power to decide whether or not laws are constitutional or unconstitutional. We call this judicial activism. The case that gave rise to the power of judicial review was, as we all know, Marbury versus Madison. We can see Marbury listed at number 15 on the required Supreme Court cases. It is recommended that you are familiar with the rulings in these cases. Please do not limit yourselves to just these. There are many other cases that a student who expects a 5 will be required to know. On the list are more famous ones like Brown, Schenck, and McCulloch. Others, however, may not be as well known. Others have been omitted, for example, Texas versus Johnson. But it is important that you know the answer to the rulings in these cases. The rulings are to be found in pages 32-33 of the course exam description booklet, page 32-33. The following AP questions 1 to 4 should be answered and written in the corresponding spot in your Google assignments. I will give you 1 minute to answer each question. I may have missed question 2. Here it is. This concludes our lecture for today. Please put the answers in the corresponding spot in Google. Thank you.